What's going on, everybody? It's Rusty from BracketForecast.com. Just wanted to do a quick little general update on the bracketology situation and seed list, things like that. We are just under 4 weeks from Selection Sunday, so just kind of wanted to give a general feel for specifically where teams on the bubble are at and how I think the bubble situation is playing out as of today. So you see on the screen right here, you've got basically your last four teams in right now, and then you've got your last four byes, and then you've got your first 8 teams out of the field. So I think NC State really did themselves a lot of harm on Sunday night when they lost at Boston College. I think that if that had been their only Quad 3 loss, that wouldn't have been the end of the world for them. But because they had 2 previous Quad 3 losses, and I think that their other areas of their profile are so sort of mediocre that that just really killed them. So right now, 3-2 Quad 1, which is actually pretty good, and then you've got them at 7-6 Quad 1 and 2. And then Quad 3 losses. That's still very much a bubble profile. Their strength of schedule is top 100, which is fine. Road record's 5-5, which is fine. Again, it really comes down to the having 3 of those Quad 3 losses, and specifically to Boston College, who was pretty far down on the Quad 3. I'd kind of overlooked the Quad 3 losses. Sorry about this thing that's popping up on my screen. Prior to that, because Georgia Tech and North Carolina at home were sort of borderline Quad 3, and you almost feel like North Carolina can be Jekyll and Hyde. So I didn't really knock them too much for that. But yeah, I think that if the selection process were to happen today, they'd be just outside of the field. Now, I've got them as the first team out, so it's not like they're out by any means. Let's look at their remaining schedule here. Let's go to KenPom. Where's North Carolina State? Here we go. So what do they have left? All right, they've got Duke on Wednesday. And Duke and Florida State at home this Wednesday and Saturday. So either one of those wins would put them back into the field. So you go 1-1 over the next 5 days, NC State's probably back in the field. It's important for them, though, to get the road games that they should win, which is North Carolina. And then, obviously, we don't expect them to win at Duke. But, yeah. And again, this is another perfect opportunity for them. They've got 4 of their last 6 at home. And all of those games outside of Duke and Florida State, so split one of those, and then the rest of them outside of Duke are the game at Duke are completely and entirely winnable for NC State. And you have to think, if they get a win against the top 2 seed, then their chances of making the field go way above 50%. So NC State fans, don't hang your head too much right now. Richmond, obviously, they had a huge win over VCU this week, and I think that their profile is super borderline, but I think eye test is sort of playing a slight role in this because without Blake Francis, they were okay, but now that Blake Francis has come back and you look at the overall big picture of how they played when they've had him this season, because he was out for a month with a broken sternum. When he's been on the roster, or he's been available, they have played like a top 50 team. And basically what you're looking at for at-large teams are your top 50. Top 50 are usually going to make the tournament, or top 47, something like that. So they won at Rhode Island, which now that Rhode Island has become a key, that Rhode Island is inching up toward a single-digit seed. And then that neutral court win against Wisconsin. Wisconsin is also a single-digit seed. And now they've beaten VCU, who's a bubble team. this is the key thing that I think is really going to help U of R. 7-2 on the road. You look at other road records of other teams on the bubble. You've got teams like Indiana. You've got teams like Minnesota who have like 1, 2, 3 wins away from home. You are 7-2 on the road, then the selection committee is more than likely going to look very favorably on your profile on Selection Sunday. So I think that that's the reason why I have them in the field, because otherwise 2-4 against Quad 1, not terrible, not great. And then so what are they? 4-6 Quad 1, Quad 2, with a bad Quad 3 loss to Radford. Although because it's just one, you don't want to sink the ship just for one bad loss. So you sort of give them a pass for one. But if that happens again, then you would almost certainly have to pull them out of the field. So Richmond right now, I've got you as my last team in. But again, you're sort of, if you're the last team in the field, you're sort of beholden to the winds of change on the bubble. So, for example, if you're the last team in on selection week, and we saw this with 3 teams, including UNC Greensboro last year, UNC Greensboro was set to make the field. They were in. And then you had 3 bid thieves from other conferences. Oregon won the Pac-12 and stole a bid from one of the at-larges because they were not going to make the field otherwise, and they had to make room for Washington, who was going to make the field. Who are the other bid thieves? I'm drawing a blank. The A-10, VCU was going to be the only team from the A-10 to make the field. St. Louis ended up winning the A-10 tournament. And then there's one other team I'm not thinking of. And so that pushed UNC Greensboro from the second to last team in, to the first team out of the field last year. So if you're in this last 4, I would not feel comfortable. You want to put yourself in this position, or you want to be in this 40 to 42 range on championship week to feel pretty safe about your chances going into Selection Sunday.